Hey guys, welcome into Jewel School. My name is Susan Thomas and I'm here with Kashka. She is an amazing wire weaving artist. She puts beads on too, but it's pretty incredible. And we just got a huge display of all of her beautiful jewelry right here that she has created. She has two books. Right? Two books, and it's just an inspiration, I have to say. I actually was looking through some of her pieces and realized that I'd made a piece out of one of her books, which was kind of exciting.
Yeah.
Hers was much better, just saying. But anyway, welcome into Jewel School, Kashka. We're really excited to meet with you, and we're hoping that you come visit us on set really soon.
I would like that.
Yeah, I would love it too.
Yeah.
So, what exactly is wire weaving? I see a lot of things here. Can you kind of explain the technique, how it works?
Well, wire weaving is basically weaving. It's a textile technique, just like you would weave a basket or a piece of fabric. You weave wire, and you use very thin wire. This is 26 gauge. See if I can unravel a little piece of that.
Gotcha.
So this is probably the thickest wire you would weave with. You can 26. Now you can go down to 34. Some people use 34, which is a little crazy.
Yeah.
And then you would use the base wires that are a little thicker. This is 18. So if you're not familiar with wire, it goes by gauges, and it's in reverse order, so it's a little confusing. The thinner wires are a larger number than the thicker wires. So something like this is 26, and this is 18, and then you can use even thicker. I use up to 12 gauge wires.
So this piece that I so nicely took from your display, this is essentially wire weaving. So you kind of took out a little bit of the mystery out of it for me when you said it's just like weaving a piece of cloth. So if you kind of think of the larger wires kind of as your base, and the smaller wires is the piece that kind of sews it together, almost like the thread that sews it together. That's kind of how it works, and you can add beads and all kinds of things. Now, how in the world did you get started doing such a beautiful, intricate skill?
Well, I was always doing some kind of a craft, and then one weekend I took a workshop on wire actually wrapping, which is a little different.
Yeah.
That was 23 years ago, and the rest is history. I just fell in love with it and started doing it pretty much full time. And then I discovered weaving, and back then, I don't know, that was probably maybe 15 years ago or so, maybe a little longer. I started seeing some wire weaving pictures, but nobody was teaching it. So I pretty much taught myself how to wire weave. Just looking at pictures, looking at other people's work. And that just became my fascination.
So you're actually teaching here at Bead Fest this week, correct?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
I love your books. They're very, very well written, beautiful pictures, and easy to follow, which is wonderful because, I mean, to say it's an involved skill, I think, is kind of an understatement.
It is, yes. And there is no end to learning.
Yeah.
You know, there's just so much, so many different styles, so many different new techniques that are being invented by mostly younger artists that are just incredible, that there's just no end to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so, okay, we've got lots of wire. And now, if you guys are following along on jtv.com/extra, we have a lot of wire in the show, and I think Kashka and I are going to try to point you in the direction of the better wires to get started with, because she, like, literally was grabbing all the good stuff and pulling it over to her side of the table. And she's going to show us a demonstration. But if you're following along on jtv.com/extra, there's a little shop button at the bottom, and we'll point you in the direction more of the bare copper wires, I think, from what we have here, and then the finer gauge wires, or the sets that have both fine gauges and heavier gauges in them as we go. Lots of different options in the show. And if you're following along on Facebook, which I know many of you guys are, on the Jewel School Facebook page, as she picks up something, I will point out the item number. But you are going to see some pretty cool demonstrations. And I think it's neat that you're working with some of Parawire's more brightly colored wires.
Yeah, these are nice, especially if you want to see the pattern. Mm-hmm. So something like this piece, which is done with colored wire.
It's amazing.
You know, if you did this all in one color, you wouldn't be able to see the pretty pattern.
Not at all. Yeah.
And you know, these are the different samples of different techniques that I usually do this for my students to show the different things. I've done a lot more with colored wire in the past, like these earrings.
Let me put this out. I'm just going to kind of put this out here just so they can kind of see that. They almost look like cacti.
It does a little bit.
You know, a little bit.
Yeah.
They're beautiful.
Yeah. So these are done with 18 and 26 gauge Parawire.
Okay. I love I've never honestly loved colored wire more than I love it right now at this moment. I mean, I am a wire lover. You guys know I love wire. I love to work with wire, but I'm just a wire wrapper. I can bead weave, obviously, since I've read your book.
A little bit.
Read one of your pieces, but it's definitely a skill that takes you know, some resolve and I think you got to commit to it. So
yes,
but it can be, you can go simpler, or you can get more complicated.
Right.
Are you going to show us something kind of to get us started?
Well, let me show you some examples of different styles.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
So these are some of my old pieces right here, and this is like pretty classic wire wrapping, where you use half-round wire to wrap with.
Okay. Yes.
And then you use square wire. To bind, the binding is with half round, and then the base wires they don't have to be all square, but there are mostly square wires, and then you can use twisted wire and stuff. This piece right here is also all wire wrap. This is one of my old pieces. So is this bracelet, and this is one of my newer pieces. This is also wire wrapped. It's just a little different technique that I started doing recently.
Yeah.
But it's also wire wrapped. It's square wires and half-round wires.
So the squares coming through the center, but
Yes.
you've actually taken this half-round wire, and it's not just all the way around. Sometimes it's around like 2 of the wires, and sometimes it's around 4.
And you can create all sorts of different patterns with this technique.
And you create all your own clasps as well, too.
Yes.
Now, when you teach, or when you're doing your in your books, and you have these instructional patterns, do you show everything from how to do the clasps to
Yes.
the whole thing, like
Yes.
start to finish? You don't leave anything out.
No.
Her instructions are amazing, guys. You should take a class with her. The detail is incredible. I mean, her books.
Thank you.
I'm really hoping that we can get it to Jewel School, because I just would love to have one of your books, and I'd love to have another go at it. You know, and try it out. And now I noticed that primarily a lot of your pieces are in sterling silver, but I see that, and one of the things I would have thought is, wow, I have to have sterling silver wire to do this. So do I have to have sterling?
No. There are a lot of artists that just work in copper.
Okay.
And you know, the bare copper is nice because you can patina it.
Yes.
And if you don't want to patina it, then get coated copper.
Makes sense.
But most of my pieces I like to patina.
Yeah, I love the patina.
So you know it's frustrating when you do something and you can't patina it.
I love a patina. I'm a patina girl. So hey, if you guys are following along on Facebook, I'd love it if you would share the show. This is Kashka, and she is actually being sponsored by Parawire, and we have not ever actually been together on the stage before.
No.
So I know she's a new artist for me. So I think she's probably a new artist for many of you as well, and I would love for you to meet her, get to know her, and get to understand what she has to teach you, because I think there's so much value in it, and so much to learn, and so much excitement You know, it's exciting and different, and I always love exciting and different. So the first thing you did, I have all these different sets of wire out here. Koshka immediately started picking at this one. So I'm going to kind of start here with the copper. This is a bare copper wire set. It's got several gauges, everything from 14 gauge up to 28 gauge, which I would think you would agree is a good weaving wire.
Yes, 28 is great.
Yes.
26, when you're starting, I would start with 26.
Gotcha. So it's got 26 and 28. It's actually JSWR 353 on the Jewel School page. And then there's one that's JSWR Kit 63, which is very, very similar. That one is a great price for this weekend. It's actually looks like 40% off. So that might be a good place to get started. And copper wire, why I like copper wire is A, because like you said, you can oxidize it. But B, I mean, let's just get down to it. You're looking at about 500 feet of wire for $50. It's cheap.
And it comes in the pound, 1 pound.
Yeah, I mean, you get them in huge spools. You just get huge quantities. It's like not paying for what you're using, and you still get this beautiful artisan piece.
It's really exciting at that other end of the table.
Yeah.
There are different colors of square wire, which is something new, which is really cool.
Very unusual.
Very unusual.
Yes, that's a brand new set for us. I've never seen it before, but I love it.
Yeah, I didn't know they had so many colors.
So show me something.
So, you want me to do the demo?
Sure. You guys want to see a demo? Yes, everybody's like, yes, yes. I see you. Let's see it. I'm obsessed with this. I keep picking it up. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's just so
Go
pretty.
ahead.
I don't know what I want to do with it. What? My necklace is hitting my microphone. I'm in trouble. I'm always in trouble for that, guys. If you ever wonder why I don't have necklaces on, because it always hits the microphone. Always.
Well, so I'm going to show you the difference between wire weaving and wire wrapping.
Okay, I like that.
And maybe I can talk a little bit more about combining the techniques, which is really cool. So, and I already prepared these. I'm going to do pretty much the same pendant with 2 different techniques. So this one, these are square wires that are bound together with half-round wires, and I'm leaving spaces in between, and that's going to be for the tabs. They're going to hold the stone together. I did a very similar thing with this. This is woven. This is a woven strip.
Oh, can I hold it for a second?
Sure.
Where's the camera? Oh, is it? Oh, okay, I'll hold it here. I just want to get close. So this is very similar to this, but it's much more intricate looking, basically.
Yes.
So this one is just plain wire wrapping, and this one you basically incorporated a bead weaving technique into the same type of way that you might wrap a cabochon.
Yes, so I'll show you.
Really neat.
So this is like a basic, like very often I get a question, what's the difference between wire weaving and wire wrapping?
Okay.
And this is like the most
basic.
classic example that I can show you.
So is this done with all round wire?
It's done with all around, but it can be done with square wire.
Okay.
The nice thing about weaving is that it can be done with different shapes. Another nice thing about weaving is that the gauges of the base wire don't all have to be the same. I can mix them.
Okay.
These are all the same. These are.
There you go. If you look right there, that's what's on the camera. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Cool.
So these are all 18 gauge, woven with 28 gauge. These are 20 gauge square wires with, I think, 20 gauge half round.
Okay.
And so when you have a strip like this, then you can wrap it around your cabochon. And it takes some doing to get a nice wrap. And the cabochons are usually pretty slippery, so I won't do the whole thing here. Just give you an idea of, what to do. Sometimes it's easier to put it on the table and go around, but you get the idea. You get the, much nicer than this. around, and then what you end up with is something like this, which your cabochon goes inside of.
Right. Huh.
Right.
That's beautiful.
And then I have one that's wrapped. I had to tape it in because it wouldn't stay in that frame. So it's the same idea, and I'll show you how to pull these tabs. So on these, I already pulled the tabs on one side, so that's the support for the cabochon. And then I'll take my flat nose pliers, and I don't have to do all of the wires, but that's why I left these empty spaces. Mm-hmm. So I can take my pliers, I'll put it on here, and just twist. I'm twisting the pliers like this towards the middle of the cabochon, and then I'll do that on the other side.
So you're almost kind of creating a prong?
Yes, it's like a prong. They're called tabs.
Okay.
So here's two of them. And there's always a little adjustment. I can just do them on the top. I don't really have to do the middle ones if I don't want to. This one. And this one. And you can see how that pulls on these wires from the top, so you have to always adjust them. Mm-hmm. But that's enough to hold the cabochon in.
Right.
And then I did the same thing with this one. Actually, this one I have on the front done. And I have fewer connections, so it's going to look slightly different. But it's the same thing. I'm just grabbing the very first wire on the edge and pulling it in.
Tabs.
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 Yep.
I got it.
Because, you know, prongs are those single little things.
Yeah, yeah. Tab makes more sense.
And that's it, and that's how your cabochon stays in.
So the second technique you worked on is more wire wrapping, and
This is
the
wire wrapping, this is weaving. And then, so here I had to bind all the wires together at the top because I'm not weaving. However, you could do this and then do a woven bail at the top.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
You can mix them. With this one, I wove the, I forgot my dowel, but you can use something else like this.
Use what you have, right?
Right, you use what you have.
Yes.
So this is how you make the bail.
Okay.
So this is woven, and then you just bend it over like this. Now I can't get it out.
Beautiful.
So that's your bail. With this one, and I'll show you the couple finished examples from here. So this one is a wire wrapped, and I don't know if you can see this.
Yeah.
Wrapping right here. That's where the bail was wrapped, and the wrap is just single wires. Instead, it's different from this, which is woven.
Yes.
So that's all wire wrapped. And then to do something with these leftover wires that I have here and here, I would pull some of these wires to make the bail with, and then I have all these other wires, and that's what this is made.
Right.
So. Now the reason I brought this is because when you're working with square wires, there's something cool that you can do, and that's what I did here. You see the twisted wires on this piece?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what you can do is you can twist them, or use one of the twisted wires that you can buy.
Right.
But the nice thing is that if you learn how to twist your wire, then you have all sorts of gauges of square wire that you can twist. You don't have to buy all the gauges of twisted wire. So this is just a little pin vise.
I love those little things.
Yeah,
Very
they're available
Mm-hmm.
everywhere. You can they're use for holding like tools and things in. But if you like your wire, if I can do it. Come on, get in there.
So you just grab a hold of the end.
You grab the hold of the end. It's not tightening enough.
Got to get it tight.
Let's try it on the other side.
I like that it's two-sided though. So
Yes,
you have different gauges of
yeah,
wire.
it has.
What am I doing? To anybody? We're gonna do a giveaway after you get that.
Okay. It has to be tight, otherwise you won't work. And then you straighten it, and then basically, if you have a short piece of wire that's attached to something, you can just twist it like
Isn't that
this.
beautiful?
And you can twist it a little bit, it came out, or you can twist it more. But so you can have a couple twisted wires to do whatever you want to do with it.
Mm-hmm. Whatever gets you excited.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
I love it.
Yeah.
We're going to do a quick giveaway because I know a lot of you guys love learning, but you also love winning, right? So just reminding everybody who's watching on Facebook or jtv.com/extra that we are live here from Bead Fest in Lancaster, and we have a live studio audience out here, and they're waiting to win things. So if you'll be patient with us, we're going to do that. But I'm telling you, this is exciting stuff. This really is. I'm going to let you draw the
Okay.
draw the number. Okay, we got. Let's see. I got a big bag. Where'd the bag go? Oh, I thought I got to give away the bag. Okay, it's fine. This is going to be 863178. Right there. Wow, that never happens to me. It's never my number that gets called out. Is it ever yours?
No.
Never.
Never.
Anyway, congratulations. Yay! All right. So, and of course, I feel like we're kind of doing a little bit of a giveaway here for everybody because we are basically broadcasting live from Lancaster, so you guys can actually see and meet some of these brand new or different artists that maybe you've never met before. I mean, I know, Kaska, you've been around for for a while. You've been doing bead weaving for a while. You have 2 books, both of which are amazing. One of which I haven't gotten to really look at, but just they've inspired me in the past, and I know that our customers love learning and they love hearing from amazing artists like you. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. I'm literally reaching over because I want to pick this up.
Yes. So I don't think I went over this.
Yeah, you were getting ready probably to do this. I just want to get my little eyeballs on it. I love the labradorite. But so this is this.
Yes.
Here. And then this is what you were able to do
With
that
these
basically
wires right
differentiates this from just wire wrapping.
Right.
So this is where we are.
Yeah.
Right. Cool.
Yeah.
Isn't
So you
this
can
fun?
do, these are, both of these are done on the same, very
Mm-hmm.
similar base.
Yes.
And then you can, whatever you do with the top, you can do all sorts of different designs, which, it's
I love how
it's
you do the
unending.
backs.
And the backs, I try to make them pretty.
Yeah. Huh.
So
This is never an end. You could continue with this for, you could make one piece just incredible.
yeah,
huge.
I teach this class.
Yeah.
And it's amazing what students come up with. Every
I love
piece
it.
is completely different.
Mhm.
And then, when you get into this, they're just unending. This is in my book. This is just a simple bezel.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can do a tiny bit of soldering, you can just add a wire to your bezel
Ah.
and just create a bail, and that just dresses it up.
So you've actually like combined two skills that I honestly never would have thought of combining.
Yes, and the second book is actually all about that. This is also from the book, and
okay.
So it's soldering and weaving.
Hmm.
And then you have, this is also a little tiny bit of soldering and weaving.
Wow, I gotta hold that for a second.
Here you go. And then you have multi-stone designs, which these are all woven pieces. There's no soldering in these, but this one is partially soldered. Oh, actually, there's a lot of soldering on this one. But you can see how you can combine all these techniques together.
Now, do you normally mostly use beads in your design, or do you lean more towards the cabochons?
Well, it depends on the design. Like these are all cabochons here. Mm-hmm. You know, there's a enamel piece in this one, and these are cabochons. This is a cabochon. These are all stones. There are no. Oops.
Slippery.
Slippery.
Yeah.
There are no beads in here. These
Gotcha.
are all stones that are set in there.
So you can literally take one stone, one cabochon, and make a super intricate, kind of amazing showpiece, which, I mean, really in some ways makes this kind of an affordable skill to have, meaning like just because, like especially if you're using copper wire and one stone, it's more about your time.
It is. It's a lot of more time than wire. Just
spending
simple
more time than money.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Which to me, and for a lot of us as makers, I mean, we do have more time than money.
Yeah. But something like this doesn't take very long time.
No. Yeah, that's beautiful.
There is a bead in it, but it's just one coil around it, and I've seen this done with color wire. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty simple.
How does that work? How do you do that?
You coil wire over another wire, and then coil the coil over another wire.
Oh.
So
yeah.
So that's how.
Coiling coils.
So I call them. A lot of times you hear double coil. Mm-hmm. I like to call them coiled coils.
Okay.
It's a little bit of a mouthful.
Yeah.
But I use the coiling technique in a lot of things. Like here's a coil in this. This is just a simple coil right here. That's not double coil. Lots of these multi-stone designs have coiling in them. Let's see. This is. Oh, I should show this one. This piece was done in bronze. That's another.
Oh, that's nice.
Another really nice color to use. It doesn't tarnish as much as copper.
Okay.
But it has this really beautiful golden color.
Yeah, it's a really soft, beautiful color.
And there are actually different. So, bronze is really a type of brass that is a little darker. But there are the different colors of brass that are really fun to use with to mix the colors.
Now, how did you get started with parawire?
Well,
I personally love parawire, so
yes,
it's good stuff.
Well, I was looking for color wire.
Okay.
And I tried different brands, and I tried, like what you get at Michael's and Hobby Lobby and stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't remember how I found parawire, but maybe at one of the shows, and that was the right softness of wire to weave with.
Gotcha.
And then since then, I just stuck with that.
I feel like it's a common story that I hear about parawire is that once people find parawire, they literally just never look back. It is. I mean, I have my own story about parawire that I tell over and over again. Maybe many of you probably heard it, but it's incredible quality wire. It's incredible that you could actually bead weave with a wire and not have to worry about it stripping, peeling, changing, tarnishing, any of that. I mean, they have some secret airplane science that they won't tell me about that keeps the color and the coatings on the wires. People literally will not tell me. But it's exciting and it's fun to work with and it's great quality. And you guys know I'm always preaching quality, so I love me some parawire. So since we're back to the wire again, we've talked about the stones. We do have a number of parawire sets in the show for those of you guys following along. If you're looking for a set, what you're going to need is one that has multiple gauges, because you're going to need the larger gauges for the base and the smaller gauges for the weaving. So if you're wanting to try what Kashka is showing you, then we've set you up basically in the show with several actually all the wire in the show is parawire. So anything you see, like I think I would recommend, this one is a great one. I think it's a good starter kit. For those of you following on Facebook, JSWR 346. Gives you the two basic colors, the silver and the gold, and then gives you some larger gauges. You get 18 gauge in this, and then also two of the smaller gauges. There's a 24 and a 28 to work with. So, and there's not too many spools, so you might not feel quite so overwhelmed by that particular set. So that'd be a good one. We've got some special prices for you guys because of Bead Fest. So if you're following along on JTB Extra and you want to pick that one up, it's actually 46% off today, and we're just doing that for Bead Fest. We also have a set of tools here, and the only one I've actually seen Kasha pick up so far was the flat nose plier, but I know you use you're going to use a cutter, use a flat nose, and so this is a good kind of comprehensive tool set to get started with. It's got a file which you might use in some of your obviously weaving if you're dealing with your copper or your silver. So. Plus there's a caliper and a lot of different, the chain nose, the flat nose, and the round nose, which I think would be probably pretty essential in doing some of these items. Because we were talking about use what you have, and you didn't have a specific tool, your dowel.
Dowel,
right? And we needed something round, so your round nose plier, or even honestly this awl. I'm always saying use what you have, but that's a nice round piece right here.
Yeah, you can
and then do you ever use the little awl picks?
All the time.
Yes. So this is a good one right here.
Yeah.
And this, I think, let me see something. Before I say something that's wrong, that never happens, ever. I am always 100% right. Oh yeah, we have a deal on this as well. This is normally, usually when I sell this, it's $56.99, and for Bead Fest, it's an additional 10% off. This is just a great little tool set that I carry with me on the go when I'm, going to things like Bead Fest or going places like Tucson, and I need to have a lot of tools and keep them in a small place. Comes in a case like this, branded Jewel School, so you'll never forget about us, which is always so important. So anyway, it's a great opportunity, guys. So what else? I feel like we're kind of in the middle. We're mid-demo here. So what are you going to show me next?
Well,
she's like, oh my gosh, Susan, really? Anything you would like to share?
We can talk a little bit more about techniques.
Do you want to show like just a quick wire weaving technique? Can you? Are you set up to do that?
Yeah. I can, let's see, I have some 18 here.
All right, perfect.
Let me just grab my cutters.
You want to pick a number? They have to pick a number. So while she's getting set up, now for those of you guys at home, I know you all want to win something too. You won me and Kashka. Okay, so my next winner. You guys ready? You looking at your tabs? You're like, please pick me, right? Yeah, I'm with you. 863 1 9 1.
Right in the front row.
Wow, look at that. There comes Robert Thomas, my brother, coming out there with a fantastic, gosh, we got some great prices.
That's not even going to fit in your bag.
Pretty bags.
You want me to hold the juice for you? Okay. All right. Sorry, I'm back over.
Well, that's nice.
Hey, Robert, they told me that you were going to come up here and help us do some bead weaving. Is that true?
My hand's cramping right now.
See, here's mine.
Oh, look, you have it all. I would love it. You know, this is actually the first time I've ever been sitting with an artist that they actually pulled out their own awl, and it was not my awl, and so that made me really get excited about the set again. She's got it all. I love it.
Oh,
she has it all.
I don't leave home without it.
She doesn't leave home without it. See? I like it.
All
right. So, what are we doing here? What?
Is there a colored wire that's like 26 or 28?
Let's see what I got
Would
here.
be a little easier to see.
Okay, let's see what we've got. I know, let's see, 28 silver, 28 rose.
Just give me silver.
Is silver okay?
Yeah.
I've got rose gold too, but it's not, I don't know that it'll show up against, it won't actually against your copper. That would be silly. Rose gold and copper. I was looking for the blue, but the blue didn't come in the 28. So we're using parawire. I know everybody's excited about that. And she's starting with an 18 gauge and she's going to wrap it with a 28 gauge. So that's a pretty common ratio, right? 28
Yes.
gauge. And,
Yeah. But you know, you can do all sorts of different things.
Are there any rules? Like rules?
Rules.
Yeah.
I'm finding out there are fewer and fewer rules.
Me too. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Let's just break all the rules.
Okay, let's do it. I like it.
It's like there are no mistakes. If you can repeat the same mistake over and over again, that's a new pattern.
Okay, fair. That's a good one. That's good. I love it.
And in my class, it's just wire. If it breaks, it's just wire.
I love it.
Now there's more wire where it came from. So basically, I'm just, this is the overweave or modify summit. And you're just basically going to each wire and wrapping it. And that's what I used in this,
Okay.
which is also this one. It's just different, slightly different pattern. I love this technique because there are so many things you can do with it. A lot of these are based on that same technique. They're just different patterns. This I call it zipper weave,
Pretty.
which is the same one, only woven with 2 wires. Two weaving wire instead of, right now I'm just using 1 weaving wire. And that's mostly what you do, is use 1 weaving wire. But yeah, like the one that you were so fascinated with. Oh, you still have it.
Oh, yeah, I'm so fascinated. I was going to try to hide it up underneath my show plan here.
Yeah. So this one was woven with 3 wires, and you're actually weaving with 3 wires all at the same time.
Ah.
Yeah, you can have it back.
I mean, look at this. I'll put it in the picture, just so you guys can see. So she's doing what she's doing right now, but she was weaving with 3 different colored wires all at the same time. I mean, wow.
So basically,
And I'm watching her thinking, I can do this. And I know you guys can. Whether or not I can, it's a good question. But I think I can.
and then so that's the basic, and that's only on 3 wires. And you can do this weave if you want to on 100 wires.
You just go all the way
You
up
just go
and
all
back
the way down. Yep.
And it's the rep. So I think what I'm seeing is it's the repetition that makes it so amazing. That's why when you said there's no mistakes and you just repeat the same mistake over and over again, it becomes a new weave.
If it becomes a new weave and it becomes new
yeah,
pattern.
that's awesome.
And then
That's
if you
incredible.
wanted to, you know, like to weave the over-under weave, just open this up, these wires up a little bit.
Yeah.
So this is what I usually use for the
bales?
for the bales. So you go, instead of going, let's pretend this wire isn't here,
Okay, we're pretending.
and then you're just basically going, wrapping around the base wires, and then going in between, and actually crisscrossing to the other side each time. So that let me do this faster so you can 1, 2, 3, and then you go
And then you go to the bottom. So you just kind of crisscross.
crisscrossing, yep. And that's what gives you that nice crisscrossing pattern.
So the other key is going to be consistency.
Yes.
So if you go under, you need to make sure you go under every time. If you go
Yes.
over, you got to go over every time. But if you go over, all bets
Yes.
are off. Unless you go under consistently over and over again and do it to pattern.
You know that.
Aren't you glad I'm not
yeah.
teaching the class?
Well,
They're like,
you know,
yeah.
I often have students that are just terrified but you take it step by step, and
Right.
it really isn't bad. And then at the end of the class, it's usually like, wow,
Yeah.
it's not that bad.
Right. So when you look at something like this and you think, how in the world am I going to be able to do that? It's step by step.
It's step by step.
It's weave by weave. And just like any other technique, if you're just making a loop and you're making a loop over and over again, if you think back to the very first time you made a loop, you were terrified, right? You thought there's no way that I can make a perfectly round loop, but now you make them in your sleeve. So it's kind of the same thing. Now that you've done this over and over again and you're repeating that same thing over and over again, you realize it's not that hard because it really is a repetitive pattern. It's just about moving your larger wires and weaving in between with the smaller.
And it becomes muscle memory. Just like knitting or
Piano.
crocheting
Yeah.
or piano. You kind of feel, you feel the wire in your hands, you feel what it's doing.
Makes sense. Makes sense. And so in Parawire, the reason you kind of work with them, especially in your coated or plated wires, is the temper of the wire. It's a softer temper.
It's a softer temper.
Yeah, so a lot of you guys, a lot of people don't understand the different tempers of wire, but to try to do wire weaving or even that kind of wire wrapping with a half hard or a medium temper wire is almost torture.
Well, actually, for wire wrapping, you want to use more harder wires.
Yes.
Because they're easier to bend.
Yeah.
Bend, in sharp into sharp angles.
Into sharp angles, yeah, and they
Yes.
hold their shape a little
Yeah,
better.
and they
but
hold
for
their shape.
For wire weaving, it's
Especially for the wire, for the weaving wire.
right.
You absolutely need to use
Yeah.
as soft wire as
Right.
possible.
Well, because wire, as you work it, becomes harder.
Yes.
And so if you start with a harder wire and you work it a bunch, then it gets harder and harder and more brittle, and you're more likely to break it too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
So cool. Well, this has been incredible, an incredible opportunity, and I thank you so much for kind of sharing your knowledge and your expertise with us. And we've loved
Thank you.
hanging out with you. And I know you guys join me in saying, wouldn't it be great to have Kashka and her book on Jewel School? So there's an opportunity to pick that up and have that. Have more demonstrations and more love for that. Now we're apparently going to throw some t-shirts, so everybody watch out because Robert's throwing t-shirts. And then I'm going to do another drawing, is that right? No more drawings? No, I'm done drawing. Oh, okay, well, all we're doing is throwing t-shirts. Woo! Oh, gosh. I don't know what's happening around here. Okay, so any final parting words, any fun facts about Kashka you want to share with everybody?
I don't know.
Nothing?
My accent's Polish. That's the question I always get.
Everybody asks where
Everybody
you're from.
asks
Yeah.
where my accent is from. I tell people it's from Cleveland, but they do not believe me. Proszę bardzo.
I love it. I love it. That's awesome. That's great. So Kashka's accent is not from Cleveland. It is a Polish accent. And it's beautiful, and we loved hanging out with you. So thank you so much for being here. I think that's the last of our festivities for today, and so we're gonna wrap it up from the main stage here at Bead Fest 2023. Robert Thomas will be back tomorrow with some more amazing artists, and I will see you guys again Sunday morning on Jewel School.